Good evening to everybody tuned in. Obviously, intro and them things going to be done. Smash the like button. Any comments, get them in. But let me shut up and let you enjoy.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
Because you always use that active red light defending. I think it's like. Because you always use that active red light defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. Appreciative to you lot joining me, whatever time zone, whatever time of the day is on this Wednesday with myself. Appreciative to all of you lot supporting the content. I know I've been bringing out a lot of vids, as you can see with the message in front of me. One love if you're on Twitter and Twitch. Make sure you're following on all the platforms. If you're on YouTube, please smash the like button, subscribe, leave a comment after the video, as well as commenting in the live chat. Obviously, people, I need you lot's help. We're part of the DG Nation. If we're going to get to 70,000 and beyond, we have to boost the YouTube engagement levels, people. So, yeah, man, support the thing. Appreciative to you lot. Joe, good evening to you and everybody else. Yeah, great show with troops early on. DG really up in the levels. Trying, bro, trying. Feeling like Bukayo Saka trying to get double figures for you lot, man. Appreciate you, South London, man. You know what I mean? You know, South London's a bit overrated, but where the supporters are, you lot are great. And if you're, I know you South Londoners are very proud individuals, to which you lot always say, you always bite the debate that I give. You'll always say, oh, yeah, Arsenal started in South. Exactly. Where did we end up? No one wants to be there. But yeah, big up you lot. Zinni leaving, not going to lie, I think it may actually happen. Now, again, paper talk and all of this stuff. We're going to go over all the articles and whatnot. Zinchenko. Now, I do think Zinchenko is disrespected, if I'm completely honest with you. There's not a single footballer who plays well for 38 games. There's not a single footballer that, doesn't make mistakes. When Zinchenko came into this team, I'm talking literally when he signed for Arsenal, he gave us a new, a new dimension. He was doing that inverted stuff in the same way Gabriel Jesus gave us a lot up front that Aubameyang and Lacazette did not have really well. Unlike Aubameyang, Lacazette Jesus can't score. And for all of it, I'm a fullback, a Sunday League fullback in it. So I'm always going to back the fullbacks. I think, the things I don't like about Zinchenko, I think he's improved defensively, but, he's been down here defensively. He's improved up here. This is the level I need you to be. I know Kyrgios is in a left back, and I know the last couple of games are not the best case study to sing Kyrgios' defensive praises because he hasn't been tested. But typically, he's a stronger defender. Timber's only played 50 Premier League minutes. He's a stronger 1v1 defender, as is Tomiyasu, people. And you would imagine in some capacity, whether it's a centre half, a right back, a left back, someone like Timber and Tomiyasu that can cover all of that, you'd imagine Mikel Arteta brings one in the summer. Now, I hope that follows a central midfielder, maybe a right winger, a winger, definitely a striker. But I don't think people give Zinchenko his props, man. I think, he's a decent player and he gives us a lot. I would have loved him off the bench against Porto. That being said, of course, Zinchenko is a flight risk where it comes to where we need to be strong defensively. There's obviously been games and been big games where he's done well. But if I say Salah, Kudus, all of these hitmen, Pedro Neto, any of these household name fullbacks, wingers, you don't want Zinchenko. You don't want them going up against Zinchenko. When I think of Zinchenko, I think of the first 45 minutes with him and Jorginho at Stamford Bridge, and he got hooked. I think Zinchenko switches off defensively. I think he's played enough times to switch to be better defensively, but he's a central mid by trade, so he's never going to have that natural inclination as a defender. Really, he's never going to be the best 1v1. He leaves a lot of space because obviously we invert, and he does switch off really. And realistically, with the greatest of respect to Zinchenko, whether it's the team that we find starting at the moment in Arsenal's team, or just get the creative juices flowing. Name whatever Arsenal strongest 11 you lot want, yeah. Whether it's Jesus or Havertz up front now, whatever you lot have to say. And just assume Zinchenko is at left back for that. So, yeah, pick the 10 other players. if you're like what we got Brentford on Saturday, if you're Brentford, obviously, you know, you can score from all over the field and players can switch off and all of that jazz. But you're going to target Zinchenko because you know that he's going to leave space. He's not the strongest 1v1. Zinchenko has 2 years left on his deal. And you'd imagine that Zinchenko goes from being one of the first names on the team sheet. You know, I want to be careful because you never know, different horses for different courses. But you'd imagine Zinchenko is going to go from being a first name on the team sheet kind of guy to what he found himself at City, where he's in the squad. There'll be plenty of games. You know, we need another defender, for instance, you know, and I would say the biggest thing with Zinchenko is he picks up knocks. We've been dealing with injuries since the start of the season. You know, in the last run of games, we've been doing what we need to do. And again, I'm happy Cedric came off the bench in different circumstances, but you go back to that game against Sheffield United, we only had one recognised defender on the bench, and that was Cedric. And, you know, I know Arsenal can do weird things, but you would imagine Cedric is gone. You know, that's the only thing I can say against Zinchenko. And obviously, Tomiyasu is the best trait you can have is being available. You know, you look through the majority of Arsenal's team, unfortunately, who is going to be there for the bulk of the season? You know, people get injuries, things happen, but I would say unless something crazy, Saliba, he's played every Premier League minute of all the players. Saliba's going to be fit. Obviously, Ramsdale and Raya, the goalies are going to be there. Saka obviously is going to be fit for the majority of it, as is Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. And that, you know, Trossard's had knocks, but I'd throw him and Martinelli into that. And there's a couple of other names really, but then you look at Tomiyasu, Fabio Vieira, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, even Reece Nelson. You know, and the list goes on. The vast majority of our team, you can't really bet on them staying fit. And we need that to be a thing, really and truly. Shout yourself, American Gunner, aka Gooner, my CEO. Big up, DG. Thoughts on Mika Beref, kid out on loan? Would you like to see him get a chance in pre-season? I mean, who doesn't want a Haylender? I know we bought him from Fulham, but who doesn't want an academy player, you know, coming through the ranks and doing his thing and whatnot? And this is his third loan spell. He's been in Holland. This year he's found himself in Scotland, in Motherwell. Now he's currently with Stuttgart, I believe, in Austria. I like him a lot, man. I like him a lot. But unfortunately, you know, unless he does a proper madness, you'd imagine Mikel, anything can happen, but you'd imagine the decision's been made over him. You know, we've got Havertz that could play up front. You've got Trossard. You've got Jesus. I put an asterisk next to Martinelli's name, but you'd imagine at some point in his career, hopefully at Arsenal, he becomes someone that can play up front, and we're probably going to bring in a striker. Obviously, that striker is going to cost a decent amount of money. Let's say anything from 50, 60 all the way to 100. If we get a winger, that's around 50, 60 odd million quid. Central midfield, probably the same. If we bring in another defender, another defensive body, that's another bit to the price tag. So I'm only saying that to say we need to focus on outgoings. Obviously, whether we're able to sell everyone is another thing. But, you know, the Tierney's, the Lokongas, I hate to say that about Tierney, but the Lokongas, you know, potentially Nketiah, Nelson, Smith Rowe, probably Aaron Ramsdale, these lot are going to depart the club. The club might say, while he's not playing on a regular basis at the moment, Charlie Patino, you done all right at Blackpool, you're playing for Swansea. I do think there is a pathway, but, you know, we're probably going to bring in a central midfielder or two, and there's a couple other people. They might say, you know what, let's just make a profit and keep it moving. Similar to Balogun last year, if Mika Beref does a madness and it seems like he's scoring every week, we might say, you know what, we might have made a decision too early, but this is some money that can come into the club. So I think that's where it's going, really and truly. You lot know me. I want the impossible dream of, you know, a starting 11 of Haylen grads. It's never going to happen. I do think, you know, Mikel Arteta, it's a bit harsh because you can't expect a man to fight for the Premier League and give all these young players chances. But I would like to see more of a chance for the Haylenders. That's why, honestly, if I'm young Renell Waters, unless Mikel Arteta said, you know what, next season you're going to get real chances, I'm leaving. Cedric is going to leave. But he's been the one that's played against PSV. He's been the one that's played in games where Waters can make his debut. As I said earlier, you know, you look at our team, we had one fit defender on that bench against Sheffield United. It wasn't someone who could potentially be part of Arsenal's future. And if I'm Koza Jubri, I might be thinking something as well, people. So, yeah. Do you think Zinchenko can play 8 DG, or do you want someone better? I do want someone that is going to give me more confidence of a long-term partner with Declan Rice and time to the squad. But you could argue Zinchenko be better in midfield, really. And that's kind of where I see it going for Zinchenko if he stays at Arsenal. I see him being someone that you get games at left back. You get games in central midfield, but you'll be more of a bench boy. But he's got 2 years left on his deal. I personally think Zinchenko's going to get a new contract, but the club might say, you know what, the system has left you. Let's make some money. You know, Timber and Tomiyasu are probably better options at left back. Obviously, I think Timber's got the balance in that. Obviously, Zinchenko is a natural midfielder. He's going to have a bit more guile, a bit more passing range and all of that. But, you know, he's very mediocre defensively. Timber, obviously, is not, and he's not fit, but he's obviously not Zinchenko inverting. He's not a central midfielder. He's a defender by trade, but he can give us something and he's stronger 1v1. If Tomiyasu stays fit, that's a decent left back. You got Benjamin White inverting. And to be fair with you, when Tomiyasu got injured, I might just be making this up, but I personally felt that while Tomiyasu is never going to be the greatest in the final third, he looked like he was getting a trick out of him. He was looking a lot more confident in that side of his play, really. You know, I would have loved Kieran Tierney to stay, but I think, you know, rightly so, Tierney wants to go play football. If he was up for doing the Kirill kind of role in the team, I still think he'd be here. But if I was Kieran Tierney, seeing how Kirill's been deployed, obviously when he was doing the inverted thing, fair enough. But in recent games, Kirill's playing like a traditional left back. I might be looking a bit side eyes at Mikel Arteta, if I'm completely honest. I think Tierney stays and starts at left back and Zinni's moved to the 8 to replace Smith Rowe. I don't think Tierney wants to stay, really. I think the club's made their decision up. You know, I think Tierney's an absolute professional. He probably said, you know what, Gaffer, I've tried my best to get into your thoughts. I've tried my best to do this inverted role at the time. I want to keep it moving. And I did think, you know, the only thing you could say about Kieran Tierney is injuries, which have followed him to Spain. But it would have been nice to have kept him, really and truly. There's defo games we could have utilised him. But I don't think Tierney is ever going to be Arsenal starting left back. And it does leave a sour taste in my mouth pause, because I remember when Mikel Arteta said that's a future captain. And maybe he was at the time. But, you know, as time's gone on, we're trying different things and whatnot. I think the club are using him on loan to get P's, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody, as I just said, more people can make it from Hayland, in my opinion. But, you know, there's 2 jobs of the academy, you know, come through the first team or sell for profit. And that's a success story in itself. It's, you know, while I'm saying I think we could do more in that regards, you know, how many clubs in the Premier League or in world football can sit there and say, you know, the number 7 shirt is by a homegrown talent? Whatever you think about Eddie Nketiah, he is in the first team and he is wearing the iconic number 14. Smith Rowe's had the 10. Obviously, you've got Nelson in and around. Everybody's of various different, you know, importance in the squad. Then you've had Iwobi and Joe Willock, who have done their thing and been sold on. Obviously, Balogun, I would have loved for Balogun to get a more of an opportunity, but at the end of the day, what Balogun's played probably about 10 times for Arsenal Football Club, had a great loan last year. Profit into the club, we keep it moving. And outgoings will be interesting, really. I don't expect to bring in every target we want or address every area. I don't think we're going to sell everybody, but I want to see us do something in terms of sales. Obviously, Ramsdale needs to be bringing in 35 to 50 million, in my opinion. Don't know what Marquinhos, Tierney, Lokonga, Tavares, Thomas Partey, you know, Smith Rowe, and Nketiah, Nelson. Zinchenko's got 2 years left on his deal. I'd imagine he gets a new one, but you never know. You could be devil's advocate and say, you know what, Kirill, this is his first full season at the football club. Tomiyasu, there's rumours he signed his new deal. Obviously, Timber, we spent big, but not big money, but a significant investment. There's rumours of bringing in Hato. You'd imagine we bring in another defensive body. It might just be a means to an end. Zinni, keep it moving, really and truly. It's mad, Carl. Back then, if Tierney wasn't available, we're losing, and now he's not even in the thinking. It's crazy. Time waits for no one, man. If you haven't subscribed or smashed the like button, make sure you've done such, folks. Appreciative in advance. Keep your thoughts coming, people. We'll get into all that news business in a minute. I think we need to loan or move on from Nelson, Smith Rowe, or American Gunner. You knew you had to put in brackets, he's my guy. I don't want to give up on Smith Rowe, you know. I know we need to be ruthless and we need to be comfortable with difficult decisions and all of these things. And I am a hypocrite. We're all hypocrites. I will forget about all of that for Emil Smith Rowe. But, you know, he had the last 2 years have been a waste for Smith Rowe, really. I hope he's accepting of being a squad player and you can stay. I think the only thing that could save Eddie Nketiah, Nelson and Smith Rowe is that, you know, they might not necessarily want to move on. The club might not necessarily think they're going to get decent offers. And obviously there's the homegrown quota as well, man. So, yeah, man, I do think it is what it is, man. I do think that happens, really. It's going to happen. There might be a reality one day where some of the players that are first names in the team sheet, in our opinions, people were saying the same things. Time waits for no one, really. When I think about it, when I think about Zinni, I think about last season against Liverpool. Yeah, I do. But there's also been numerous big games from Zinchenko, man. United at home, Chelsea away last year. He's had some good games, but then, you know, Zinchenko, you're taking the risk. My big thing is if we address our midfield, like, don't get twisted. I love the invertedness. You know, if we take Benjamin White as an example, we're not saying Benjamin White, like, we need to move away from what we have, but we need to move away from talking about, oh, we can't create because of our left back. Benjamin White inverting and doing whatever he's doing, it's an added layer on top of what Odegaard, Jorginho at the moment, Declan Rice, and all the other creative players are doing. The better we get as a team, especially if we address that left 8, it's not that there's not a need for Zinchenko, because there could be some situations. As I said, in hindsight, I would have loved to have had him for Porto away, because I think, with the greatest of respect to Kyrgios and Havertz in the 8, it's like playing with 9 players in the build-up, because that's not strengths of theirs. But the better we get, the less that you can kind of leverage Zinchenko's pros against his cons. It's a bit irrelevant, in my opinion. There's only so far we could go with that, if I'm honest. Spurs away, had a good game. Fullback, Mafia, all agreeing. Ziddy on the move. Kyrgios gives me secure vibes. I like Kyrgios. I've always said I think the confidence thing has been the biggest issue with Kyrgios. Now he looks like he believes in himself. Like, yeah, I'm here for a reason. I'm a Polish international. I've been in Italy. I'm more confident in what Arteta demands of me. I think Kyrgios coming into the team has been the right thing, because collectively we've got our confidence back, and he's been able to ride that wave. Obviously, he's chipped in with a goal, 1-2 assists as well. You know, the throw in for Havertz. It is an assist, but, you know, Trossard at Liverpool, it is an assist. He's won the header, but Trossard had to do a lot in that. So it is all right. I'm still not 100% convinced in Kyrgios, and it's nothing to do with him, because I don't want my defenders or my goalie ever to be in action. I would love them to have quiet games all the time, but I'm yet to look at Kyrgios and be like, wow, you know what? You had a job out there against one of the most potent wingers. You're doing your thing. But right now, he is the first choice left back. You know, again, I've just been defending Zinchenko. Tomiyasu, when fit for me, goes back at left back. But like with Partey, Jesus, and all the other injured players, if they were 100% fit at this moment in time, they don't necessarily walk back into the team. And I'm not going to say we don't miss them. There's definitely been periods this season where we've missed them. But I can't really say, again, in the recent games, you know, the Liverpools, the Burnleys, the Sheffields, the West Hams, feel free to interject if I've missed one out. We haven't missed them, really and truly. Kyrgios second place, Timber first. Nah, come on, man. Tomiyasu second. Timber / Tomiyasu, then it's Zinny, then it's Kyrgios. I bet you when them man there are fit, you'll see in it. You know, but big up Kyrgios, really and truly. You know, when I think about Kyrgios, I look back to last season with Rob Holding, and I don't think it's fair to just blame Rob Holding for us not winning the league. Obviously, he's not good enough. We had to change the system. But when you look at the games and the run he was in, he weren't the only reason we didn't win or lose. But when Kyrgios finally got his chance, when obviously it's already written last year, Kyrgios looked all right. I think he was even playing right centre half. I think Arteta is one of them where training, he's not 100% convinced. He as humans, we're creatures of habits. He's leaned on Rob Holding. Rob Holding's obviously is shown he's not levels. We've kept it moving. Against City, you're playing Tomiyasu at left back, or you're sticking with Kyrgios. He's been playing well, but I'm not fully convinced. I'm not gonna lie. You put a gun to my head. I'm playing Tomiyasu. Like, again, it's a long time from now, and Tomiyasu is gonna need to get fit and whatnot. But City, Tomiyasu's playing. Big up Kyrgios. I'll back him all the way. But like Tomiyasu's got more. I've got more confidence in Tomiyasu. I've seen him more. The only thing I don't like about Tomiyasu is when you think about Partey, I would say the next injury-prone player has to be Tomiyasu. And to be honest, it could be Gabriel Jesus fighting there. We all know how bad a torn ACL is. I hope Timber can perform to his best ability. If not, we will. To be fair, bro, I think we have to give Timber the luxury of. I'm kind of writing off this season for Timber. I'm hoping it's not the case, but we need him to get over the mental scars. We need him to get fully fit. You know, just because he's back in training, don't mean he can play 90 minutes or even 10 minutes. Obviously, there's going to be an element of ring rust, and he's going to need to get back in. So I hope to see him this year. And even if I see him this year, I'm still saying I'm writing him off. Get yourself fit. Pre-season, we go again, and it's a shame, man. You know, really. I even think Benjamin White's reacted very well to Timber coming in, because we've got some good options at fullback, really. You know, you're seeing Kyrgios and Benjamin White at this time. Typically, it's Ben White and Zinchenko. You could put Tomiyasu at left back and have Benjamin White. Timber and Tomiyasu is very interesting because they could play left and right back. You know, I wonder, maybe I'm bugging out, but, you know, maybe across a 90-minute game, Arteta might, one half, one's left back, one's right back. He swaps them and whatnot. I've already discussed Mika Bereth. Tomiyasu made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm not killing anyone for making mistakes. And you're right, Tommy did. But there's been many times Tomiyasu has saved us. You know, you could argue Tomiyasu is the best 1v1 defender, because how much man has he locked up? You know, cool, he done that. But what happened when Mo Salah bucked him at the Emirates? You saw what time it was. That's a Japanese Swiss Army knife. Shout out Kirill, man. I don't think Kirill will be a long-term left back. I think he's a centre half. But what I want him to do is keep going, man, because if God forbid, Gabriel's done very well. If Gabriel drops off and Kirill keeps doing what he's doing, Arteta might say, you know what, you're coming in. If you're not a curtain raiser, just make sure the floor don't drop. And again, we need the squad. You go back to August, and I'm not calling anyone out, but a lot of you, when we're in the early weeks of the season, every player who is on the bench or not in the match day squad, the Arteta don't like them, they're not going to play. Now you see, since August up till now, why you need a squad. Think about the different villains and heroes and who's made a mistake and then won the game the next week, the injuries and all of these things. You need a squad. Big up DG. Honestly, I'm okay with Zinni leaving. I am, but I'm not. Like, it's not the end of the world if Zinchenko departs. Like, it is what it is, but I'd like him to stay really and truly. At least, no, you're not leaving until another defensive body comes in, man. Good opinions, people. Zinni, bad games wasn't just Liverpool. It was a lot of games. He doesn't care about defending as much as attacking. For me, it's just you're not a natural defender. You look at Pep Guardiola, obviously he was doing the inverted fullback stuff, but there has to be a correlation with City winning the treble. And it's obviously, they brought in Haaland and there's different things they've done, but they've got stronger 1v1 defenders all over the field. You've got Ake in there, you've got Diaz, you've got Stones in midfield, etc., etc. And where you look at Arsenal, we need that. Saliba is a monster 1v1. Gabriel probably loves defending the most of all our defenders. Benjamin White, in my opinion, is now our most underrated player. He's doing his thing. Tomiyasu brings that. Obviously, there's only 50 official Premier League minutes to go off, but I get that vibe from Timber as well. There's, when the sun is shining at the Emirates and we're having the bulk of possession, Zinchenko, you're the guy. Anfield, not on it. West Ham away, not on it. North London Derby, I'm not on it. And I'm not even Man United away last season. Zinchenko switched off as well. And again, I don't like just blaming one player because it's not that, essentially. We should sell Eddie, Nelson, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira and Partey in the summer, along with everyone on loan. I don't think we'll see that mass exit, but yeah, man. Injuries will come and happen. Everyone was thinking Cedric wouldn't get game time, but that's where Cedric showed his experience, really and truly. He knew he'd get games essentially, and it comes with experience. Obviously, you look at Jorginho is not in the same realm as him, and neither is El Nene. But these are accepting of their place in the team. They're a lot more mature. They know they're going to get games. Cedric played the game. Obviously, the club tried to move Cedric on. I think it was in January the club wanted to move him on, but then they said, you know what, there's no money. We can't bring in another defender. Arteta, rightly or wrongly, is gone. You know what? You got the Haaland boys, or whether I rate Cedric or not, Portuguese international, experienced Premier League player. We know his contract is running out. Might as well just keep him, and he's done that. And for Cedric, really, it's a bit like, to be fair, Eddie and Nketiah on 100 grand. When you put these players in these positions, what real need do they have to move? Yes, go and get more regular football and whatnot. But if you relate it to a job, Cedric went on loan to Fulham. So you should assume him and his family are cool in London. They're cool in London. He's clearly, while he's a bit part player and he's gone from playing for the under-21s to playing in the Champions League, he's clearly not a disruptive figure. He hasn't been alienated from the team. Like Arteta, he's still training and whatnot. He's probably, again, anything can happen, but the wages he's on, not that I care and I'm pocket watching, but the wages he's on at Arsenal, you're not going to get that somewhere else. He's probably entitled to a loyalty bonus for fulfilling his contract as well. So, and we all know in today's day and age, regardless of your age, being a free agent, it's one of the best things you could have to a degree and make yourself more attractive. And he's got interest from Spain with Villarreal. He's had interest from Turkey and all these things. So he might say, you know what, I'm cool. I'm going to stay to the end of the season, collect my pay packet, be utilised when I need to be utilised. Even I'm on the bench. I've got a couple of Portuguese speakers in and around the team. I'm happy. I'm cushy with what I'm doing, really and truly. Smash the like button if you haven't. I think Zinni's defensive weaknesses are actually exaggerated. However, I think his offensive abilities are overestimated. I see why. I don't think that's the case defensively. I think people are quick to attack him unnecessarily. I don't think his attacking influence is overestimated, but I do think the way I want Arsenal to go, I want it to be that, if that makes sense. When it's crunch time, why is this not coming up? Sorry, mate. I don't know why your comment's not coming up. Here we go. When it's crunch time, we can't be dependent on injured players. I'm sorry, no Partey and Tomiyasu versus City. The Fulham game as well. Even that, as Fulham at home, Zinchenko's doing madness, but at the same time, across 90 minutes, the whole team was doing madness. Saka lost the ball for when Ramsdale got fingied. Now, obviously, Saka's our guy, but we need to keep it 100% fair. It's like when everyone's just blaming Martinelli for the Porto mistake. Yeah, on another day, we set a great counter-attack, we score, and the narrative would be very different. But You know, Martinelli's done something dumb. Declan Rice isn't closing down the cross. Rice's positioning isn't the best. So, you know, all three, and even in that period, we lost the ball about 3 times in the dying embers of the game. So everybody who done that has to take collective responsibility. And even if you just want to blame those players, that's great. But football's a 90-minute game. What else happened across 90 minutes? It's not like everyone was amazing. But unfortunately, you know, it's very football fans can be very simple, isn't it? Really and truly, man. And that's it. You lot's talking points are amazing. I think Arsenal have been thinking about these scenarios a good time in advance. I mean, it's their job to do so. So they've already made a decision by now. Zinny stays, or scouts have already looked at other options. I think Zinchenko is going to get another deal, if I'm honest with you. I think, you know, in his defense, you know, I wouldn't say we're inexperienced, but we are in it. And Zinchenko is one of the only guys in the squad that's won something of significance. You know, he's a Premier League winner. He's been in the Champions League final. I think Arteta likes that, really, and I think he'll stay, really, if I'm honest with you. If he leaves, it is what it is. Like Zinchenko, respectfully, you're not a player to sit there and cry about and all these things. But yeah, we've got 54 likes. Can we keep smashing the like button? Zinny in the 8th row. I think on occasion, but I think if you go to sleep at fullback, I'm quite nervous for you in the middle of the park, because obviously everybody knows it, but people underestimate just how switched on you have to be in central midfield and the work you have to go to. You know, a few months ago, I'm a fullback. The manager for Sunday League said you're playing in midfield. Like, I normally do the inverted thing. I was gassed. When I say I was knackered, because, you know, if you take a break, there's gaps. If you run forward and don't track back, there's gaps. And you switch off. And Zinchenko is a flight risk in that regards, if I'm honest. I just think naturally with Zinchenko, we need to, a bit like to a degree with Jesus, we need to take a leaf out of the book of a team that's done what we want to do in Manchester City. There's, you know, a couple of years, Zinchenko was a bit part player, but there was a couple of games where he made the difference for City. Make him a squad player. Same with Jesus. It would have been lovely and romantic if Zinchenko, with a bit of game time, showed his quality, and Jesus with a platform to score goals, done all that Man City Jesus stuff, but scored. It's not going to happen, innit? So let's take a leaf out their books, man. If you can't do your job at your main position, I don't think you can do a job somewhere new. To be fair, though, he's a central midfielder, and I think Mikel Arteta knows that, because whenever he talks about Zinchenko, he does not talk about defensive capabilities and stuff. He always says he's a midfielder. You compare that to someone like Tomiyasu, where he says the defender's first job is to defend. So I think that's a case of the manager knowing exactly what it is, people. If we start looking at some news in and around, people, apparently 4 Premier League teams will battle for the signature of Crystal Palace and England centre-back Mark Guehi. Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Tottenham Hotspur have all been named. I don't expect us to go for him. I wouldn't mind another centre-back, but realistically, unless Mikel Arteta has got plans to move on Saliba or Gabriel, or you're finding someone significantly better, why would you? And again, you need game time and whatnot, but why would you spend 50 million quid on that, where 50 million, like significant outlay, where you could argue probably need to make more of a significant outlay in the middle of the park or up front? It don't make sense. That's why personally, I don't really, I mean, we'll make videos about that. The game is the game, but I don't buy the Guehi and the Deluded links. There's no doubt some admiration. I think you're more likely to see something like, he probably would cost 50 million. Someone like, what's that Sporting Lisbon lad's name, man? We wanted him when he's at Denmark. Plays for Ivory Coast. Diomande, because he can play centre-half as well as fullback, man. So, yeah, man. Well said, DGC. Ben White's comments about the difference in the level of awareness playing in the inverted role versus centre-back and right-back. Bro, you got to be so intelligent to play what Mikel Arteta is demanding. There's not a simple role in this team. Even the goalie, you've got to do a madness. Up front, you've got to do crazy things. Odegaard's got to do crazy things. The wingers have to put in a serious shift defensively. You know, Declan Rice is having to do what he was doing at West Ham and more. Like, I think Mikel Arteta makes it simple, but it's so complex, really. And I don't think people give Benjamin White his credit. Allegedly, Arsenal reportedly ready to let left-back Zinchenko leave the club this summer, a slightly surprising transfer decision. The Gunners only signed Zinchenko from rivals Man City last season, and he made a strong start to life at the Emirates Stadium, though his second year, Mikel Arteta's side has perhaps been a bit less convincing. I mean, he's been part of a number of clean sheets, to be fair to him. Zinchenko has struggled for both fitness and form. The fitness thing is what annoys me. Arsenal would be willing to offload him from around 45 million this summer. Ain't that a little profit of what we made? I mean, 45 million for Zinchenko, I'm on it. I'm not going to lie to you lot. Forget everything I said. 45 million for Zinny. Keep it moving. Apparently, he's got interest from Bayern Munich. That would, boy, if I'm Zinchenko and Arsenal say, you know what, see you, mate. I'm going by Munich. I can't lie. He's been linked with Newcastle. I don't mind because if you go Newcastle, boy, Saka's gonna tear you a new one next season. Really, obviously he's 27 years of age. I don't really buy the Bayern Munich thing because obviously Alphonso Davies is linked with a move to Real Madrid. Maybe it's a case of creative journalism. I like Diamande, and you always hear me say, yeah, the fact that Arteta was scouting. Now, Arteta could have scouted these guys, been looking and been like, you know what, I was wrong there. But that's why, even though I don't really believe it, if there was a reality, you could get Mudryk, obviously Diamande and Vlahovic, off the basis of Mick and Pedro Neto, off the basis of Mikel Arteta aggressively wanting them, there must be a method to the madness. I mean, we're not even talking about Kai Havertz, 65 million right now. So Arteta, the mad scientist, might have something for us. But yeah, that's where Zinchenko's concerned. Like clockwork, people, another left back that's currently technically owned by Arsenal is being linked with a move to Aston Villa, where he'll link up with his former manager, Unai Emery. Kieran Tierney's been linked with a move to Aston Villa. Apparently, Arsenal value him at 25.6 million. There probably is some money that we owe to Celtic. And I mean, you stay in the Premier League, you play for an ambitious club like Villa, assuming Emery's there. Smith Rowe's also been linked with them. Tierney has 2 years left on his deal. As you can see here, it says 2026. I think we're just going to take a hit on Tierney, and it weren't a Mikel Arteta signing. DG, what about a Mudryk Ramsdale swap deal? I mean, if it was a thing, I'd entertain it. For Ramsdale, it don't make sense because you've got Petrovic there. Kepa's going to return for some period. You've got Sanchez and yourself. That's 4 keepers fighting for one spot. Arteta said he'd rotate his keepers. He would, and I don't think Poch or whoever's in charge at Chelsea next year will do that either. It's a bit like the Newcastle thing. Do I think Ramsdale's better than Nick Pope? 100%, but I don't think it's clear. So you've got 2 of them. When he's linked with West Ham, with the greatest of respect to Areola, he's having a good season, and Fabianski, I reckon Ramsdale could take a spot there. He was linked with Wolves. I reckon you could be the first choice there, really. David Ornstein said, let's not beat around the bush. Declan Rice is the game changer for Arsenal, and whether it proves to be decisive in this season's title race or not, we don't know. But he's the perfect signing. He was exactly what Arsenal needed. He has it all. He has improved in areas that he needed to. From the very moment that he joined the club, you started to hear, how quick a learner that he was on Mikel Arteta's tactical instructions and strategies, really hungry and eager to take feedback on board. And England are getting a better midfielder, which Bellingham's former at Madrid, Declan Rice's former Arsenal, Saka and that, Benjamin White, Southgate stop acting up. Arsenal could win the Euros. And it was striking to people watching inside the club how quickly he implemented it, whereas some people tend to take a bit of time. Last time I checked, his name is Big Declan Rice. It's not Caicedo or Enzo Fernandez. When we spend the bag, we get lit stuff, really. Apparently, Arsenal have already agreed a deal with Tomiyasu to stay at the club, and the Sun Sport can exclusively reveal that Ben White is set to follow suit, which is great. Allegedly, we are tracking Brighton's Ivan Ferguson, RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, and Sporting Lisbon's Victor Gyökeres, forgive me for mispronunciation. It seems like anything links us, any target we're linked with, better yet, is linked with Chelsea. Apparently, we're in for Nico Williams, and apparently Chelsea are also targeting him. Apparently, people, he's valued at 43 million. He earns 100k a week after tax in Spain. Must be nice, isn't it? Get the subscribers up. Let's do this, people. He's got 6 goals and 11 assists in 27 appearances, people. Martinelli's injury is said to be nothing really. What else these lot got? We know the striker list. We see the same names. It's getting boring. West Ham, if you feel like giving us Kudus, Bowen or Paqueta, we'll circle around in the summer. Apparently, Man United are emerging as the favourites to sign Victor Osimhen, people. This is the lowest I've seen his new release clause. 1 minute is 94 million, then it's 100, then it's 103, then it's 130. Me personally, I just think Arsenal like him. I think we'll try to go for him, but I don't think we're going to get Osimhen. I think he's getting Chelsea or Paris Saint-Germain, people. I think we're going for a different... Now I'm starting to believe we're not going for the Vlahovics, the Tonys, the Osimhens. I think we're going for the kind of the Fergusons, the Xerxes, the Sesko kind of ones. I don't know him religiously, but the more I do my homework on that sport in Lisbon, lad, the more I like of him. But as I said, my opinion is not informed. It could be the wrong one. Romano has spoken on Osimhen as well, people. What specifically has he said? We have been speaking about PSG, Arsenal and Chelsea for months. For sure, these clubs are interested. I don't think it's new. It's going to be important to see who's going to make concrete steps to sign Osimhen. But at the moment, we're not at that stage yet, and it's the same on the player side. Osimhen is focused on Napoli for now after signing a new contract early this season, even if the feeling was that he would probably leave the club this summer. So let's see what happens closer to June, July. I like Santiago Jimenez, but I'm not convinced, if I'm honest with you. I don't know what it is. And again, my opinion is not informed. There's just something that is stopping me from saying such. Zinni's natural position is an 8 and a 10. You are right. Definitely let Zinni go if we can get 30 million or more. 45, I'm on that, man. Zinni at Newcastle, bro, he sack up. You better do the Arshavin thing if you play against Zinchenko. Absolutely cook him. And that's the thing. Obviously, you know, in the present day, almost every team is playing inverted fullbacks, but Newcastle don't really do that. So if Zinchenko was to go there, maybe Eddie Howe says, you know what, let me make you do what you're good at, but you have to play as a conventional fullback, and you're going to get cooked, essentially, people. Chiesa is currently hampering Arsenal and Chelsea's chances of signing Vlahovic this summer. Okay. Both Arsenal and Chelsea are in the market to sign a top-class central forward this summer, and Vlahovic is high up on the shortlist of both teams. However, despite their need to raise cash, there is no chance of Juventus sanctioning the sale of both Chiesa and Vlahovic this summer. At the most, only one of the attacking duo will be offloaded. Reckon Vlahovic, you're not going to sell your countryman Chiesa, who's had a lot of injuries. And again, when you look at Vlahovic and Juventus, they're trying to get him to sign a new deal. Chiesa's contracted until 2025, so that's maybe where these rumors are coming from, people. So, yeah, we know we tried to sign Vlahovic in January of 2022. It didn't happen. So, yeah, that's that, people. And there's going to be a lot of silly rumours. Man United Arsenal target Jeremy Frimpong is on the list of transfer targets for Bayern Munich this summer, according to reports from Germany. He has a release clause of 40 to 45 million euros. He scored 10 goals and collected 10 assists in all comps. But not convinced with him defensively, but I like his attacking output. And if Arteta can improve him defensively, and just how I see him play, I think Xabi Alonso and Arteta, their team is very similar but very different. I'm all for the 23-year-old. And I could be wrong. I know he plays for Holland, but I'm sure he came from Manchester City's academy. So the homegrown tax, which we need to be careful of. So we've heard this before, really. We know he's got a release clause active in the summer. We'll have to see that. Apparently, Timber's brother could be joining Spurs. Boy, fair enough. Zinchenko set for shock Arsenal exit as Newcastle and Bayern prepare moves. We've already read that, so let's click off the screen there. As you can see, I was trying to prepare everything for you. Look, what's this? Arsenal and Chelsea bid hijacked. Ivan Toney's been linked with Newcastle, where I think he was at Northampton. He went to Newcastle. It didn't work out. He went Peterborough, Brentford, and here we are at with him. If you haven't subscribed or smashed the like button, please make sure you do. Big up you lot on Twitter and on Twitch as well, people. Newcastle obviously Isaac gets injured. Callum Wilson is now 32. And who wouldn't want Ivan Toney? I mean, he wouldn't be my first choice, but I'm not against him. I do feel with Ivan Toney, there's no in between. Some people, in my opinion, make out that like we're getting R9. Some people move out act like we're getting some Sunday League striker. I do think he's good, but I just think with Ivan Toney, I actually think he could go to Spurs. I just think Arsenal, Chelsea, even Man United could do with an experienced striker to ease the burden on Højlund. But I think Arsenal, Chelsea, all these clubs, they'll go after the Seskos, the Fergusons, the whatever have you. If it doesn't work out, I think they'll circle back for Toney, because he's made it clear he's leaving. The manager's made it clear. The sporting director's made it clear. Any interview he gives, he's making it clear. You know, even in January, he said, I'm ready to go now in the summer. He's got new agents, going to have 12 months left. And, you know, he's going to cost, well, they're saying 180. He's not costing that in the summer, really and truly, because he's going to have 12 months left on his deal. We all know the 27-year-old was linked with a move in January. Didn't happen, really and truly. So, yeah, Newcastle have thrown themselves into the ring, people. And to be fair, Tony's done well since he's come back from his ban. Let's hope he's quiet on Saturday, because we know he's going to get to talking. So, yeah, we've covered that. In relation to Joshua Zirkzee, Man United are taking steps towards signing him, people, to complement Zirkzee, to complement Højlund, Arsenal have been linked with him as well, people. Arsenal are currently monitoring the striker, with Mikel Arteta's side eager for more firepower in their squad, says reports out of Italy. He's valued at 80 million euros. I mean, you know, in 12 months, if he does a madness, we could be looking back at that. But right now, me as an ignorant fan, it's, oh, you sure about that? I don't know. Arsenal have reportedly been scouting Benjamin Sesko over the past 6 months. He's got my seal of approval, but he's very raw, really. The more I think about it, obviously, a bad boy striker, 20, 30 league goals or something, straight in, they're going to play. But now I think about it, Arsenal might look for one of these young and impressionable strikers that can be rotated in and out, give us a plan B in which Sesko can. I think there's a lot of rawness, but I think he's got the ability to get in goal-scoring positions. I think he works the channels well. I think he drops deep well. I think his pressing is well. He's good. I like Sesko a lot, man. I know he's been in and out of his current team's starting 11 and whatnot, but yeah, at only 20, I think there's a blank canvas, a fairly molded blank canvas for Mikel Arteta to do his mad scientist stuff with, really. And I'm not sure for comparing him to the Slovenian, Haaland, let's stay away from that. But if he could be half the player Haaland is, we're living, people. Apparently, we were linked with Matthias Tell at Bayern Munich. He's now close to signing a new contract with them, so we can put that one to bed. Someone at Bayern Munich said, it's up to Max L. I don't want to enter into his job when asked about activating their 40 million euro buyback clause on the Bologna striker. I don't know if we will active the clause for Zerkzee or not. It'll be part of our summer strategies. So we'll have to watch that closely. Once again, Tomiyasu and Benjamin White are moving closer to signing new deals. Tomiyasu is doubling his money. Fair enough. Benjamin White deserves whatever they're going to give him. And at 26, he's not the oldest player, but I think he's one of the oldest in our team of the new gen, if that makes sense. So if you look at people that respectfully you expect to be here for a while, or Raya as well, but you get the point in it. You look at the Sakas, Martinellis, Odegaards, them kind of players. Benjamin White at 26, and I think he's reacted very well to Tomiyasu's form at a point this season. Timber coming in. I mean, Benjamin White's done well, man. Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher need to say sorry, really, when we signed him. Apparently, we're trying to do better at selling people. So I'm not going to read that. I think we covered that yesterday. I'm not saying these ITKs don't know what they're talking about, but I don't know if people are talking nonsense or not. But apparently we're seriously interested in the Sporting Lisbon striker who has a release clause of 86 million. I don't think we'll be keen to do that on a man that's doing this in a top division for 1 year. Contact has already been made through intermediaries, and the player is said to be interested. So maybe that's just gazing interest. That's like going to a club trying to get a girl's number. You haven't got it yet, and you're not dating or clarting yet. Osman allegedly is still high on the agenda, but Arsenal have several targets on the shortlist. That's what you would imagine to be the case, people, really and truly. Moving away from that, we've heard it before, but Arsenal are planning to aggressively improve our academy system, people. We're expected to land Wolverhampton Wanderers under 17 defender Brendan Clark ahead of 4 other Prem teams after tabling offer. Apparently, we also want to sign the 17-year-old Gerald Hatto, regardless of him about to probably sign a new deal. Allegedly, it's us versus Chelsea to sign Aberdeen defender Lewis Carroll. Never seen these guys before, people. And apparently, we're also closing in on Rangers attacking midfielder Alexander Smith. So if we can bring in couple of these players from Scotland or wherever, and they can progress to the first team, great. If they're brought in for a couple of thousand and sold for a couple of million, what business goes broke making a profit? And that's what we should be doing, people, essentially. Spurs are also keen on Nico Williams. Really. Guendouzi's been speaking about leaving Arsenal, people. I've read this already, but I'll scroll to the main parts just because it's on screen, people. He basically said about how he's more mature here as well, people. He spoke about us losing the Europa League final. I'm not going to remind you lot. He did say, I have no regrets about what I did at Arsenal. I was 19 and I went on to play 85 games in 2 years. 85 games for a big club like Arsenal is a lot. I tried to give my best for the club. In my first season, we finished 5th, just 1 point behind the Champions League places, and we lost in the Europa League final. When you finish 5th in England, it's like 2nd or 3rd in other leagues. England is very competitive, even with the teams at the bottom. It's maybe the biggest league in the world because every game is very, very difficult. I am very happy about what I did there. You need to call James Maddison, and you don't need to find whatever nightclub Neil Mupé hangs around in, and what's already understood ain't gonna be said. The next season we won the FA Cup. I was so young. I played a lot. I was very happy with this. I learned a lot with great players. Mesut Ozil was the best, an amazing player with the ball. He sees things you would never see in your life. He then said he was lucky to learn under Unai Emery as well. On Mikel Arteta, people, he said the past is the past. He said I didn't work a lot with Arteta. I only had 6 months. I was 19, so I was learning every day. I wouldn't make the same mistakes I did when I was 19, but in football, every day you learn, and mistakes are part of football. Mistakes are part of life. You become a better man and a better footballer with mistakes, which is true. Tell that to my ex-girlfriend. For me, it was a very good club because I played a lot. Arteta is doing a very good job at Arsenal, and they are fighting for the title. They are a very good team, and he's doing amazing things. I hope they'll get a trophy because Arsenal is a big club. I wish the best for them. I'm not going to lie, I was upset to see Matteo Guendouzi leave the club. Jorginho has said we're more mature compared to last season. That echoes something similar Odegaard said. Now, I hope that is the case, but ultimately, it's out of our hands, unlike last season. We have one of the finished squads, and we've got a lot to do. Arteta said 90 points. I've never been more confident in our ability to chase that, this season, because obviously I think the fixtures we've had have come at the right time. People are getting back fit, we're scoring goals, but with whatever you say about Man United, we don't travel to Old Trafford. Well, we have to do a thing there. We've got to go to Shite Hart Lane and beat the Spuds or do something there. We've still got Brighton and Wolves away. We've definitely got the game at the empty head, which I hope, considering what we've done away from home, that continues. But for what it's worth, the experienced Jorginho, who's been linked with several Italian clubs and also Barcelona, like our manager, the performance of the squad was great, and the mentality to start strong and carry on the momentum. It was really, really good to see a team playing forward and want to keep going. I think the maturity, we are way more mature how we compete and how we manage games. I think that's it. He then went on to say, we are pleased that we are doing all this good stuff, but we need to carry on. And I like Jorginho's comments, because a few months ago when we was winning games, he was like, yeah, that's great, but we need to keep going. Yesterday, it was great that we won. Today, we focus. And I do think experience can be overrated, but it can never be overstated. We are pleased that we are doing this good stuff, but we need to carry on, because if we just think, oh, nice, it's done. No, we just need to put your head down and keep pushing, being humble and keep going. We need to not just be happy for what we're doing. Of course, we are happy, but we want to keep being happy. And this is coming from Jorginho, a man that's won something for Italy and won some trophies with Chelsea. So if you're a young, impressionable player at Arsenal, listen to what Uncle is saying. So to be like that, we just need to keep pushing and working hard. I mean, he definitely watches my live streams, man. I always say that. So yeah, people. So yeah, man, big us up, man. And he said, it cements it. As far as I'm concerned, in a way, I'll wake up tomorrow and it will strengthen my resolve to get this right, because it's a big job. We understand that. I think that's Chris Wilder's comments, but no one don't really care about that. Declan Rice has said, we don't need a striker, people. I think there was a narrative that we weren't creating chances. We weren't really and truly. And then it became a thing, we're creating chances and we're not putting the ball in the back of the net. Now we're creating and scoring, which at times in the season wasn't the case. I think there was a narrative that we weren't creating chances, that we needed a number 9. But in all honesty, we've been playing like this all year, all season. We've been playing really well. The goals weren't as free-flowing as they are now, so probably need a striker. But that was never a problem that we needed a 9, because we've got Gabriel Jesus, we've got Kai Havertz, we've got Eddie Nketiah, we've got Trossard, who can play as a false 9. We do. I only really believe in a couple of those names, but shout out Eddie, South London talent. And that. Goals are going to come, so I don't think there's ever been a big problem. I think now we are really in our groove and we are looking really threatening in front of goal. I think it was more of a, how can I put this? I think our issues in front of goal were more psychological in the last sort of problems we had, if I'm honest. That's maybe why we need a cold-hearted killer that doesn't get excited or down and just scoring goals. Declan Rice said, I'm learning the position, but I want to keep scoring goals. I mean, you've had 10 goal contributions, your most in a single season. Thank you, West Ham. There's no better feeling in the world than assisting and scoring. Fair enough if our number 6/left 8 is saying that. So we've gone over that. Once again, people, we're still being linked with Ivan Toney and a bunch of the strikers that we've mentioned, people. So yeah, people. In an ideal world, Arsenal would sign both this summer. Think about a goalie as well. But the club also want to bring in a defender, midfielder. A new goalkeeper is likely to be needed too, given Ramsdale will not settle for another season on the bench. We all know FFP was an issue. We all know Smith Rowe, Nelson and Nketiah are going to attract interest and could be sold and go down as 100% profit. Allegedly, Arsenal wanted to sign a right winger since 2022, from when their interest in Neto began. Arsenal also bid for the then lead star Rafinha that summer, but Neto was their preferred target to replace Nicolas Pepe and provide competition to Bukayo Saka. That position remains a key area for the club, but like Tottenham found with Harry Kane, it's hard to find a player for the necessary caliber to be a rival for Saka's spot. Fair enough, people. So yeah, it's more or less just more creative journalism, saying the same things that we go over every day. Who's this? Okay, it's the same names there, so we won't bother read that. Once again, apparently Arsenal have been given a significant lift in their shock approach to sign Pedri, as Barcelona are considering selling the midfield. Is that because he's injured? I would love Pedri, but that's a myth, man. You know, we got more chance of probably signing Musiala. Mikel Arteta, who I believe is going to sign a new deal. Apparently, he's been linked with Barcelona to replace Xavi, and Barcelona's a massive club. Mikel Arteta is a Spaniard. I'm sure he spent time at La Masia. I'm sure he'd go there. But the gulf between Real Madrid and Barcelona is a madness. You know, the club financially is terrible. You know, in many ways, you know, Barcelona, if he joins Barcelona in the summer, for me, that's the same kind of time that when he first walked in the door at Arsenal, back-to-back 8, Socrates is there and crazy things are happening. Why would you want to go through all of that, if I'm honest with you? But he's been linked with Barcelona. Obviously, you know, he's a young Spanish manager held in high regards. he's going to be linked with almost any vacant position, really. If Pep was to leave tomorrow, he'd be linked with City, wouldn't he, people? So I'm not going to give fuel to that. If you lot want to, you can. Once again, we know Arsenal are unlikely to pay the 80 million to sign Pedro Neto from Wolves. You'd imagine that fee drops all the way down. Apparently, it's thought that a figure in excess of 53 million would be enough to land the winger. I mean, what, money and then Nketiah or Smith Rowe or Nelson? See what could happen there. But that seems to be it, man, really and truly. I'm listening to Jam's last day instrumental, DG spitting bars, appreciative. Jorginho one more season. I mean, Arsenal know more than me, but for me, as an ignorant fan, I'll keep Jorginho for another year. But I'm not really with this new deal thing. Just take out the 1 year extension. If he's still doing what Jorginho was doing this time next year and we're still saying the same things, by all means, give him a new deal. So, yeah, man, it is what it is, if I'm honest with you. Not going to lie, I'd like to see Watkins, but that probably would have happened. Villa going to ask for a lot. You could argue Ollie Watkins is a better fit for Arsenal than Ivan Toney, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of Sesko. I think because Boniface has been injured, we've all kind of forgot about him, but he's lit. Unfortunately, no Champions League watch along today, man. I'm going to edit a piece on Kai Havertz and things like that. But we'll be back again with the watch along Champions League stuff next week. And also on the weekend, man, we're definitely going to watch Arsenal Brentford together. I'm sure there's a decent game at 12:30 on Saturday, so we might watch that. We're definitely watching Liverpool City together. And I'm sure there's a game at 1 p.m. Listen, notifications, follow on socials, watch along business. Facts, DG, reading my mind. Tony will end up at Spurs. Imagine Son, Tony, Kulusevski with Madders at a 10. Not going to lie, what a wasted attack not to win a trophy. Amen. As soon as he signs there, he's going to have to call him crap. I agree. We ain't getting a top-tier striker like Vlahovic, Tony, or Osimhen. We're going to get up and coming like Ferguson, Sesko, Mateta. Are you talking about the Palace one? Or that might be a player I don't know about. Eddie Howe will be relieved of his head. Media duty suited up, boy. I'm okay with Zinni bouncing. It seems like he doesn't have the mental fortitude he worked when we were in the transition from a banter club to where we are now. Been a bit harsh, you know, for a man that's been at City for how long. I'm not saying you're wrong, but a bit harsh, innit, surely? Bit harsh. Rice signing of the summer period. I'm being shameless and saying Kai Havertz based on current form. I get surprised that players that end up out of favour at the club like Ramsdale and Tini, but it's football. I mean, Mikel Arteta's got to make unpopular decisions. We've been here really and truly with, well, not really with Xhaka, but with Xhaka, probably with Partey, and all the names you've said. It's going to happen. There might be, I'm exaggerating, but there might be a time where to get to the next level, Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, Declan Rice, Odegaard, one of them days, Benjamin White, they might not be required in the capacity that they are, man. Live for most of the day, work rate. I'm trying, man. DG, since you played fullback in Sunday League, what other defenders would you like alongside you? All-time players. Boy. What if I'm part of a back five? Prime Petr Cech. Sagna or Lauren on the right, because I can't say certain men. Tony Adams and Sol Campbell. Or in the present day, Gabriel, because I could stay further up the pitch, really and truly. But yeah, man, they'll shout at me. I'll be on the Tavares team. Don't be so sure that the next team plays him in the left wing back. Might get a chance to play his camera. That's also true, Pack. You're right. Still, he might just get to play as a midfielder. Yeah, even me. I'm getting hung up on the fact that Zinchenko at City and Arsenal he's been a left back. You might be right. And to be honest, respectfully to where he goes, obviously, if you go Bayern Munich, that's lit. But if you go to Newcastle and all the other teams, you might just play as a traditional midfielder. You're defo right. You're defo right. Great shout there. You're defo right. Definitely right. Play with wing backs in a 3-4-3. Nah. I do think naturally we're going to have to find other systems kind of thing, but I kind of like what we're doing now, man. I don't want to go back to 3 at the back. Hato would be a lit signing for us, young and impressionable. Obviously, I don't know if we've got money, but in an ideal world, we bring in another versatile defender that can participate for next season. And even, I mean, I would love for Hato to sign and be part of the squad, but you could even say, you know what, here's the money, Ajax, have that. Stay over there, Ajax, for another year. I'm sure we did that with Saliba. Stay there for another year, get a bit rounded. Then that would be the 2025-26 season. You'll be, 19? With a bit more about you. Because if I was Hato, I wouldn't be in a rush necessarily to leave Ajax. You know, how many 17-year-olds are playing week in, week out, captaining their sides? And I think in today's day and age, you know, if it's anything from a 16-year-old to a 20-year-old, if they've played 5 games, they're the next this, that, the other, they have to go and play for, join a massive club. Look at Jude Bellingham. You know, I'm sure him being a big fish in a small pond at Birmingham, from his early teenager days, the bigger clubs wanted him. But he said, no, I'm going to stay here. He went Dortmund. You know, he had Man United and probably a bunch of other clubs trying to mess up his head really and truly. But he made the right move. So there has to be a correlation with that and how he's handled his career and getting minutes, which is currency, and how he's adapted to life at Real Madrid, the pressure, the consistency, all of this sort of stuff, people. Is there anything else Arsenal connected, people? What's this? Apparently, the Arsenal fan who headbutted Roy Keane at the Emirates is facing trial. I mean, what in it? Football's always got idiots in it. Let's see what this article is saying. I hope this isn't clickbait, people. But allegedly, David Ornstein now reveals exactly what happened on Arsenal's trip to Dubai. I mean, what could have happened? Arsenal's metrics were actually not so good when they were winning matches on that run in November. Amen. But when they started stuttering in December, their metrics were actually superior. I agree with that. You know, that's one thing that gave me a bit of confidence. Obviously, losing games doesn't help. But when we lost to Villa, Newcastle, West Ham, very annoying, and Liverpool in the cup, obviously, you don't want to lose games. Definitely don't want to lose games. But we were obviously poor, but we weren't losing the games because we was poor. Sometimes you can win and it doesn't paint the full narrative, a bit like respectfully, Emre's unbeaten run. That was one of my toughest times on YouTube where I really questioned myself because I sat there and I was making videos and I was doubting myself. I was like, I have to believe what I see. I think this is a dodgy, unbeaten run. Like, yeah, it's great, but if we're always bringing on subs and we're fighting to the death against Cardiff and teams like that, there's something here, people. So fair enough, man. We just had to go back to basics. But I think a lot of our issues around that time were mental, as much as anything. Arsenal were looking at that and saying, actually, stay calm. We need to make some small tweaks. We need to be a bit more vertical rather than horizontally against these low blocks. Less passing sideways, more direct runs. So these are the tactical tweaks that some of the players have spoken about. No sort of magic formula. I mean, I think that's facts, personally, really and truly, because no one's really saying, myself included, no one's got an issue with low blocks. Appreciative to everybody who's hit the like button and subscribe. People, make sure you're doing such. Just get Fofana from Monaco and let Rice and Peas get forward with Odegaard. Why not, man? Hato, buy and loan him for 2 years. Zinni way too good to sell. I wouldn't really want to sell him, but I understand if we've got different plans with our first team and he's got 2 years left and, you know, if he has got Bayern Munich and Newcastle interest, and if the articles are right, they're really saying 45 million. Boy, like, whether Timber and Tomiyasu stay fit is another thing, whether Kirill continues to convince or whether we bring in another versatile defender, but 45 million for Zinchenko, boy, driving myself. It's nothing personal. We'd all love Mbappe, man. One thing I like at Arsenal is building our defense future, but yeah, good. We are focusing on the future and current. That's also true, man. So we'll have to see. I do think we're building something very special at the carpet, man. But, you know, whether it's this year, probably not, or next year, I just want to see a trophy, man. Party replacement is just 40 mil in Monaco. The Fofana lad, to be fair, we were linked with him in December. I don't know what's going on there, but I just want us to address midfield, whether it's Fofana, whether it's... I'm really a bigger fan of Douglas Luiz than I thought. Zubimendi, get him to the carpet. I like Onana of Everton, but that one is more of a, if you bring someone else in and he's part of the squad, I don't really want to see Declan Rice and Onana together. If that's what Arteta's got planned, fair enough, do it, man. DG Southgate to United links are great. Nah, man, I don't want them to get Southgate, man. Southgate is so good, so good. Nah, if they get Southgate, they're back to what they were doing in the 90s and the early 2000s, really. We can't let them get Southgate. Please don't make Gareth Southgate the Eric Ten Hag replacement. I don't know what we'd do, you know, really. We should sack Mikel Arteta to get Gareth Southgate. Zubimendi lacks physical still. When you look at the metrics, I disagree with that, but, you know, is he any more or less physical than Jorginho? Not that that's the best. A perfect window for me is Gaio Perez, Nico Williams, and Zubimendi, says Douglas Luiz, and a defender like Hato, Diamande, or De Ligt. Fair enough. We've parted back. How do you think Mikel will use him? I think he's just going to have to build up his fitness and take it from there, man. I don't expect to see him start I don't expect you to start against City. To be fair with you, you're back in training. I don't expect him to start against Brentford. He might be. But I do want to see Partey, Jesus, and Tomiyasu properly fit to some degree for the Man United's away, the City's away, the Spurs away, games of this ilk. Santi also lacked physical and he turned out great. But I see, I've got a bias to them kind of Zubimendi midfielders, innit? I do think, myself included, we're overrating him a bit, but I think he's lit. And big up the channel members. In relation to, where'd you have a question? You asked about, what did you ask about? You asked about the Sporting lad. I can't endorse him to the point where I think 100% it's going to work. I don't know him like that. But from my little research and what I like, I like what I see from the former Coventry lad. I like how he plays. So if we signed him and it don't work out, fair enough. But yeah, no sarcasm. So listen, Southgate is amazing. You see there was a point where some Arsenal fans were saying Gareth Southgate is utilising Bukayo Saka better than Mikel Arteta. Gareth Southgate, please don't sign for Man United. Please sign for Man United. I have a feeling all of Nelson, Smith Rowe and Nketiah will be sold this summer. And if that's the case, that is pure profit, which will help us massively for FFP, potentially. But we need to keep hold of some of these English lads for homegrown quota, innit? Like, if them three, I think Saliba actually counts. But if we just assume Nelson and Nketiah and who else did you say? Smith Rowe go. You throw in Ramsdale as well. That's 4 gone. Then you've got, what, Saka, Saliba, if he does count. Saka, Saliba. Declan Rice, Benjamin White. Yeah, you might need to keep some of them still. If Martinelli might be another one that counts. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but you need 8, right? That's not 8 though. Martinelli, Benjamin White, Saka, Saliba, Martinelli. That's 5, innit? Unless I'm missing someone. Raya as well. That's a shout because he's been there since 16 years. So there's 6. So 2 of the 3 might stay, or if we bring in an English lad, really and truly. So I hope, listen, big up Smith Rowe, but I mean, big up Nelson and Nketiah. I hope it's Smith Rowe. I'd imagine Nelson is probably the one of the 3 that's going to probably defo stay. And Nketiah could stay, but you know, you've got Kai Havertz, Trossard, Jesus, and maybe a next striker in there. I'm not sure, man. Free the number 14, man. Braithwaite from Everton looks good, but the thing is, as you know, well, every player costs a lot of money. We're hearing 100 million for Tony, 80 million for Neto, crazy stuff for Douglas Luiz, but Braithwaite's going to cost a lot of money. Cost a lot of money, man. So yeah, I think we'll have to hold on to a couple. Assuming, you never know, because we've been buying players from the Premier League. Mikel Arteta might bring in 1, 2 homegrown talents, but you'd imagine a few of them have to stay, really. It feels like I'm missing someone. Well, Waters, it would be a waste because Waters and Koza-Drewbury are young, so they don't have to be registered, but you'd have to register them, and their contracts are running down. If I was them, I'm probably going to depart. You do have a young Charlie Patino. Whether he gets chances or not is another thing. Eddie Nketiah should have been sold 4 years ago. He better get sold. Saliba counts as homegrown. Southgate to United would be the funniest thing ever. Sounds like an April Fool's joke, but we're in March. I mean, I don't know why they would sign Gareth Southgate, but fair enough if they do, innit? You never know. It might be a success at Man United. So, yeah, man, I'm not too sure on that. But with that being said, though, people, man said Scott Carson thing. With that being said, though, man, I'm sure Ethan's 17, it'd be a waste, but yeah, keep the pathway. With that being said, it's been fantastic being here with you lot this evening. You lot's talking points, differences of opinions, all these things have been amazing, and it's very amazing to be here with you lot. So let me not waste any more of your time. Again, over the weekend, you know, it's watch along settings. You know, you're going to get videos and stuff, so turn on your notifications, etc. I mean, I just think Mikel Arteta is just focused on the league. You can't really, none of the kids are going to come in now. Like, you look at City last year, when it was crunch time, Rico Lewis weren't seen. When it was real crunch time, them man there got dropped. Really. Shout yourself, Camster. You said, hey, DG, do you think we'll go for one of the Real Madrid players since they're literally overloaded? And if so, which player realistically would you go for? Not sure realistic, but, you know, Ozil weren't realistic once upon a time. If there's an opportunity, get that done. You know, if for some reason the Jude Bellingham's, Vinicius, Camavinga's, Tchouaméni, I think Tchouaméni's probably the one. Get it done. Arda Güler might go on loan. I don't really want a player on loan without an option to buy because I don't want to train players for no reason. But we didn't initially have a buy option on Martin Odegaard, and then it worked out, man. So, yeah, if I'm honest, really and truly. So it'd be interesting to see what we do in what's left of our Champions League and Prem campaigns. And obviously over the summer, we'll have to see what Edu and Mikel Arteta are cooking. But on that note, people, let me let you lot get out of here. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like